the dawn of a new Liverpool, a new era for Jurgen Klopp, and a new face of Liverpool Football Club. What's up, guys? It's James from Cop Logic. Welcome back to the channel. And wow, it's been a crazy pre-season, summer transfer window, whatever you want to call it. I think that's culminated yesterday with the news that Jordan Henderson will leave Liverpool Football Club. So first things first, what I want to say is this video is going to be more about me giving my thoughts on how I feel about the whole situation, the fact that Jordan Henderson will be leaving Liverpool Football Club this summer. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on it as well. I'm interested to know what you guys think. I think this is something we can all sort of get involved in. There's a couple of things actually I want you guys' opinion on, but I'll mention that throughout the video. But let me know straight away in the comments how you feel about the fact Jordan Henderson will be leaving the club this summer. I'm also going to talk about how I feel about it. So let's start with Jordan Henderson's exit. Obviously, we got the official here we go from Fabrizio Romano yesterday that Jordan Henderson, Liverpool and Al Ettifaq have agreed a deal. It looks like it's going to be 12 million that we're getting for him initially. I don't know money to be paid on top of that. We're not really privy to the full details of the deal at the moment, but 12 million initial payments. Jordan Henderson will leave the club. Weirdly, it happened in the middle of the pre-season friendly last night. Jordan Henderson didn't travel with the team to the game, so we kind of all knew then that he was definitely going to go. Klopp had no time for him, didn't want to use him, probably meant that he was on his way out. That's been ongoing negotiation while the team have been playing, which I think, by the way, is crazy. The fact that the captain did not travel with the team is mad. I mean, I don't know how tensions have been at camp. I've not seen many photos of Jordan Henderson, and the ones that we have seen, he's not looked too happy in them. So I don't know what the mood has been like around camp, but it feels very much like it's been like people have just been waiting for him to go. The fact that the captain didn't even travel with the team, even if his intentions were to leave the club or whatever, like I can't believe he never traveled with the team and just to sat on the bench, give them the morale and the support, because like there shouldn't be any love lost between Jordan Henderson and Liverpool Football Club. I don't know why it's come to this. I don't know why it's ended up so messy. Even if he wanted to go, it surprises me the way it's all been handled. And on top of that, he's already left camp. We had news yesterday that he'd already left. So like, I don't even know if he said goodbye. I'm not sure if he left before the team got back from the game. I think it was a 2-hour drive. It kind of feels like he was just desperate to get out of the camp. I just don't know how it's come to that. Like, it's just not at all in character. It's not what you would have expected for his departure. And it's a really sad end for the Liverpool captain, who, like, to be fair to Jordan Henderson, has brought us so much. And, you know, he's probably one of Liverpool's greatest captains of all time. I mean, when you consider what he has done at the club, like, you know, don't get me wrong, obviously, like, Steven Gerrard, his ability on the field to, like, rally the troops and stuff is unmatched by anyone, I think, even maybe in the Premier League era. Obviously, Steven Gerrard was a better player as well, but just in terms of, like, what Jordan Henderson has done, what he's accomplished at this club under Jurgen Klopp, you know, that certainly is unmatched by Steven Gerrard. When we, like, if we think about his accomplishments, he's won absolutely everything under Jurgen Klopp. Premier League winner 1920, FA Cup 21-22 winner, Football League Cup 11-12 winner, 21-22 winner, FA Community Shield 22 winner, UEFA Champions League 18-19 winner, UEFA Super Cup 2019 winner, FIFA Club World Cup 2019 winner, and that's not to mention the many like runners-up and whatnot that we also had under Jordan Henderson and Jurgen Klopp. So he's won absolutely everything except, you know, the Europa League, which maybe he might have added to his honours list this year, but that's not to be, because he is going to leave the club. But I think if we put aside the fact that he's leaving, when you look at that list of accomplishments, the length of time he captained Liverpool Football Club, it's fair to say he's been one of the greatest captains of Liverpool Football Club of all time, I think, personally. He doesn't deserve to go out like this. I think it's really sad that he won't even get a goodbye at Anfield. You know, if you think back to when Bobby's final game, when he left, the sort of fanfare around Bobby's departure and even James Milner, Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Firmino, they all received like their honours and stuff, and they got their own sort of send-off individually. Jordan Henderson deserves that. Whatever you think about this departure, Jordan Henderson deserves that, and he's not going to get it because he's going to go, you know, it's been very messy, and he will leave in this window. He's going to Saudi Arabia, so we're not even going to see them at Anfield. Like, it's not like he's going to a European club and we'll run into them in the Champions League or something. He's gone. And when you think about when Steven Gerrard left as well, there was always that iconic image of Steven Gerrard handing over the armband to Jordan Henderson, and I think we all probably expected one day we would see that again with Jordan Henderson handing the armband to someone else, and we won't see that. Like, it's just a really, really sad way for Jordan Henderson to go. And that kind of brings up as well my next point of captaincy, like who is next for the captaincy. Now, like, we will have a video coming up on this channel sometime this week discussing in length the options for captaincies. Jake's just going to run through that. I don't want to linger too much on it, but what I will say is if you guys can let me know in the comments who you would give it to. I'm talking about long-term captaincy. Right now, I think Virgil van Dijk is next on the hierarchy after Jordan Henderson, James Milner, and Virgil van Dijk. We've seen Virgil with the armband last night, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's who is going to retain long-term captaincy of the football club. So let me know in the comments who you would pick. As I said, Jake's going to go through that, so I'll give a couple of thoughts on it now for me. I'll just say this. I don't like Virgil van Dijk as a captain. I think it gives him too much responsibility. I think his game suffers for it. He doesn't play as well when he is captain. I'm sure Jake will go through this in full detail in the video, so I'll not linger too much on it, but I will say that I personally would give it to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's got that vision of that pathway of Steven Gerrard in his mind, and you know, I've seen people say like, oh, Trent's too inexperienced, he's too young or whatever. Trent is 24 years old. Jordan Henderson was 25 when he received the armband from Steven Gerrard, and Steven Gerrard was 23 when he became captain of Liverpool Football Club. So Trent Alexander-Arnold is not too young. He's vastly experienced. You know, he's himself has won already everything with Liverpool Football Club, and he's still only 24 years old. So absolutely for me, Trent Alexander-Arnold should be the next captain. It's interesting as well because we might even see him more in the 6 role. Like, I think that obviously last night we've seen Trent play in the 6 role, which is the first time we've seen that. Obviously he's had that hybrid role towards the end of last season where he was coming into midfield. Yesterday we seen him start in midfield, and I think interestingly we might see a little bit more of that because obviously Fabinho's going to go. We will buy people, we definitely will have to cover that gap, but I think it's a lot to ask of anyone, even if we buy someone experienced, to come in and play the majority of Liverpool's season in that role. I think we are going to see a handful of games where Trent's going to be back in that 6 role. So I don't know, it's going to be an interesting season for Trent. For me, I'd give him the armband. That's all I'm saying. If we want to speculate about who might come in and take over that 6 role on a more permanent basis, I did a video on that yesterday. I was actually talking about Fabinho and his departure, but I covered a number of players that I think Liverpool will be looking at to bring in. Obviously, we'll go into more detail on that when talks advance with certain players, but all of that's there. I'll link that video in the description if you want to go and look at that, because the same applies for Jordan Henderson. Of course, we expect Jordan Henderson and Fabinho we're going to rotate in that 6. And make sure you subscribe if you want to stay up to date on any of the comings and goings in the transfer window. But just to get back to the departure of Jordan Henderson, because that's really what this is about. It's interesting, but there was an article last season when things weren't going so well and there was speculation around Klopp and whether or not he was going to stay or going to go, and there was an article in the Echo, and I think the headline was "You're going, I'm staying," and now all of a sudden we're seeing the full ramification of that. Like, this is a serious midfield rebuild that, like, I think it's bigger than we all thought it was going to be. Most of the midfield is gone. We're talking Jordan Henderson, Fabinho, James Milner, Naby Keita, Oxlade-Chamberlain, all out the door. I mean, I don't think it was Klopp's choice to get rid of Fabinho and Jordan Henderson. I think it has blindsided him to a degree, but that's the situation we're faced with, and now a midfield rebuild is 100% on the cards. Personally, like, when I think of a Jurgen Klopp midfield, I think Henderson, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, and all 3 are gone. So this is well and truly the end of an era. It's the dawn of a new Liverpool, a new era for Jurgen Klopp, and a new face of Liverpool Football Club. You know, we've seen it with the forwards already. Mane and Bobby have gone. Diaz, Darwin and Gakpo are in. It's a new forward line, and it's about to be a new midfield. You know, Hendo, Fabinho, Ginny, Milner, even Keita to an extent, all gone. Szoboszlai, McAllister in. More to follow. I'm sure more will follow. I think we're probably due 2 more midfield signings now. And I want to avoid like all the politics of Henderson's move and say that, like, I don't blame him for leaving. I don't know if you guys have seen the interview with Ruben Neves since his announcement that he was going, but he was asked about his move to Al Hilal, and he said that the main reason is the opportunity to give my family the life I've always wanted. They are the biggest trophy of my career. And I think, like, everyone can empathize with that on some level. Like, he's put his family before his career. I don't blame any player for taking these Saudi offers. The amount of money that's involved in them is generational. It's absolutely life-changing, not just for them, but for their children, their children's children. So I don't blame Jordan Henderson for going. I don't blame anyone for going, for that matter. The ramification this is going to have on European football, I think we will find out in the coming years. And the moral implications it has for Jordan Henderson himself, I will leave for others to discuss. I don't think it's my place to discuss it personally. I'm going to leave that aside and just say that in terms of Jordan Henderson leaving Liverpool Football Club, in terms of the deal he's been offered, I don't blame him for taking it. In the long term, it's good for us as a club. You know, we've got money for a player there that we wouldn't have got in a year's time. We've got money for Fabinho that we also wouldn't have got. So long term, it's probably good for the club. The money's come in. It's going to allow us to rebuild this midfield how we wanted to. It's just going to have a massive impact on the dressing room. We are going to miss Jordan Henderson. I think his influence on the field as well. If we're being honest about it, there were definitely times last season, especially during those bad games, where games were crying out for Jordan Henderson to come on. Like, you were sitting there thinking, please just put Henderson on. Like, these players have lost their heads. Henderson was always the guy that came on and he regained composure.
Composure, lads. Composure
of the team. He was always the one that calmed things down, and it was very much needed a lot of the time. When we go back to talking about the captaincy, I think that's something Virgil van Dijk cannot do. He can never seem to get a hold of a game and a hold of the players and say, lads, let's calm us down, let's regain some composure. And I think that's a massive thing that we're missing. Can Trent Alexander-Arnold do that? I don't know, but I think it's time that we find out. For me, I want to give him a go. That I'm up for it. But I think on Jordan Henderson, I think it's just really, really sad that he will not get the fanfare that he deserves. He will not get the exit that he deserves. You know what's really sad as well? He never even had a song on the cop. One of Liverpool's greatest captains, you know, led us to our first Premier League title in 30 years. He has a list of honours that many players for Liverpool, captain or not, would dream of having. He never even once had a song on the cop. It was just his name. And I know he's not the only player for that to happen to, but we're in an era now where, like, Alexis McAllister had a song before he'd even played a single game, a single minute. It's kind of sad that Jordan Henderson never got one, but that aside, I just think it's sad that he won't get the exit that he deserves. Putting all the politics aside, I just want to say that, you know, I wish Jordan Henderson all the best, and I thank him for his service. I think he's been a great servant to this club. I think he's been a great captain, and I'm sad to see him go. Genuinely, I am sad to see him go. All we can do now is look forward to the future of Liverpool. New captaincy, new faces, and a new era. And in the wake of, like, all these new faces coming and players we never expected to leaving, let me just end on a quote that you've probably all heard before, but I think it's more poignant now than ever, from Watzke, the Dortmund CEO, in regards to Jurgen Klopp and when he departed Borussia Dortmund. And he said, "Perhaps it would have been better if we had exchanged the entire team, not the coach."